I'm Jeff Matlow. Welcome to the best leadership podcast ever. Welcome back to the best leadership podcast ever, where every week I help you rethink your daily activities to catapult your career. My name's Jeff Matlow. I'm a leadership coach for female executives and entrepreneurial founders. I'm also a 3-time entrepreneur and a whole bunch of other shenanigans. But enough about that. Today, I want to talk about micromanagement, but it starts with science. You see, I never particularly liked chemistry. It always felt too confined for me. It was like scientifically claustrophobic. I loved physics. Physics had breadth. Whereas chemistry is about studying how infinitesimally small molecules interact when they're under a microscope, physics focuses on finding the elegant answers to the entire universe and everything in it. I'm pretty much a big picture type of guy. This is why I was shocked when one of my first company's employees complained that I was actually micromanaging them. I would have never thought I was a micromanager. I mean, micromanaging is for small thinkers. It's for people who like looking through microscopes, whether proverbial or not, right? As an executive coach, I work with a lot of experienced leaders. They oversee growing or established teams at multi-million to Fortune 500 organizations, and they spent years growing into their positions. They may be just like you or like your boss or, like both of you. When I've asked them if they think they're micromanagers, my clients usually reply with an emphatic hell no. Inevitably, though, when I talk to their subordinates and ask them to describe their leader, they often call them a micromanager. So how could there possibly be such a huge disconnect between what the leader believes of themselves and what the subordinates know? The answer is pretty simple, actually. And it's this. There are 2 types of micromanagers, and most of us only think of one of them. We have a blind spot for the other. And if you haven't picked up on this yet, what I'm saying is that you might be a micromanager and not even be aware of it, but we're going to get to that in a minute. The stereotypical micromanager is the one that's always looking over your shoulder. No matter what you do, they have commentary. They say things like, don't do it that way, or, you know what, do this instead. And when you copy them on an email, the micromanager often responds with ways you should change your communication in the future. They'll say things like it was too long or too short, or you sent it too early or too late. Maybe you need to use a different font or stop with the Oxford comma. It's all about micromanaging. It's like you're constantly working under a microscope, and it can feel suffocating. Being micromanaged is like a magic vacuum that sucks all the enjoyment out of a job. And here's the thing. The leaders who act this way, who act like this type of microscopic micromanager, they usually recognize that they're doing it. I've actually found that they don't have a blind spot for their behavior. They just don't understand or maybe even care about the impact it has on employees. But there's another type of micromanager, one that's harder for a leader to recognize in themselves. It's a behavior I call macromanagement. Whereas the standard issue micromanager keeps employee behavior under a microscope, the macromanager maintains a bit more distance in their controlling behavior. The behavior is based on continually shifting and redefining employee priorities. Yes, there's nuance to this because it is the leader's job to define the priorities. But macromanagement is about constantly delivering new ideas, each of which is of equally high priority. This barrage of priorities derails the employees from what they actually should be doing. The complaints I hear from employees who are macromanaged are the same as the ones from employees who are micromanaged. They'll say something like, I'm always told what to do and not trusted to let me do my job the way I know how. I wish they'd stop continually changing everything. Most every leader who macromanages has no clue that they're doing it. They don't even think of the belittling effect the behavior has on their employees. It's a complete blind spot. And that's the problem. By the time you find out you're micromanaging is when the employee is in their exit interview with both feet out the door to a new job. Or, of course, you can hire an executive coach to help you. Nudge, nudge, hint, hint. When I was a micromanaging boss, I was lucky. I had an employee who had the guts to tell me to back off. And on top of that, I had the self-awareness to consider the feedback and adjust my behavior. Most employees aren't so open. After all, there's an iceberg of ignorance that's sitting right smack in the middle of your company, and if you don't know what I mean by that, you should listen to the Iceberg of Ignorance episode. So now is the point where you should be looking at your own behavior. How much are you trusting and empowering your employees? How often are you changing priorities on them? Maybe it's time to do a little adjustment. Because here's the truth. Leadership is an ever-evolving science that's best done without the microscope of a chemist or the physicist's answers to everything. All you need to do is empower your people and guide them towards a place of productive harmony. And it doesn't take an Einstein brain to make that happen. If you want to assess your leadership, there's a free quiz at bytitleonly.com. Feel free to take it. If I could help you in any way, you can reach me at bytitleonly.com. If you like this, please give us a 5-star review. Click subscribe so you don't miss a future episode. Thank you for listening to the Best Leadership Podcast ever. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you next time.